Hello, dear students. Welcome to this video class. Dear students, in our last class, we had a brief discussion about romantic prose and the characteristics of romantic prose. Here in this class, I would like to throw some light on the contributions made by the romantic prose writers to the development of English prose and who are the important romantic prose writers. As you all know that romanticism is an artistic, literary, musical and intellectual movement that was originated in Europe toward the end of 18th century and spread gradually to other parts of the world. And it was also a reaction against 18th sorry new reaction against the age of enlightenment. So here we, dear students, we can make two categories among the romantic writers. Some romantic writers were non-fictional writers and some of them were fictional writers. In non-fictional writing we have Charles Lamb. Charles Lamb was an English prose writer. He had a tragic life and never married because of his sister Mary, who was suffering from mental illness. Lamb was in large measure self educated, and his views on life and letters were worked out with an almost desperate geniality in order to preserve and develop a relish for the color and individuality of experience, which for him was the only alternative to despair. His important works, A Tale of Rosamund Grey, it was published in the year of 1798. It is a melodramatic story of a girl ruined by a villain. His next important work is Essays of Elia. It was published in 1823 and Last Essays of Elia published in 1833. Lamb was essentially Londoner. Here in these works he shows his interest in curious persons and places, his relish of the color and variety of London life and characters. In these essays, he talks intimately to the reader about himself, his own personality, his quaint whims and experiences, and cheerful and heroic struggle which he made against misfortunes. His another important work is Tales from Shakespeare. It was published in the year 1807. Tales from Shakespeare is a collaborative work by Lamb and his sister Mary Lamb. This work intended to provide moral stories for the children. His another work, The Adventures of Ulysses, was published in the year 1808, is also a work produced for the amusement of the children. The next romantic prose writer is William Hazlitt. William Hazlitt is also one among the greatest prose writers of the Romantic period. He wrote many volumes of essays. He is known for his witty statements and simplicity of the language. His important for prose works are the spirit of the age. In this work, he gives critical portraits of a number of his famous contemporaries. This was the work which only Hazlitt could undertake because he was so outspoken and fearless in the expression of his opinion. His another important work is Shakespeare's plays. It was published in the year 1817. Shakespeare's plays is an important work of William Hazlitt which contains subjective commentary on such individual characters as Macbeth, Othello, Hamlet. This work introduces a new concept of Hazlitt called gusto, a term he used to refer to qualities of fashion and energy that he considered necessary to great art. Hazlitt felt that Shakespeare's sonnets lacked gusto and judged them as fashionless and unengaging despite the desperate cant of modern criticism. His another important works are The Round Table, Table Talk, The Plain Speaker. These are other essays written by Hazlitt for the magazine publications, and these are considered as his finest works. Hazlitt also focused on drama and art in his critical essays, many of which are collected in a few of the English Stage, which was published in 1818, and sketches of the principal picture galleries in England. It was published in 1824. The next important prose writer of Romantic era is Thomas De Quincey. He is one of the greatest English prose writers. De Quincey shared the reaction of his day against severer classicism of the 18th century, preferring rather the ornate matter of Jeremy Taylor, Sir Thomas Browne, and their contemporaries. The speciality of his life consists in describing incidents of purely personal interest in language suited to their magnitude as they appear in the eyes of the writer. The reader is irresistibly attracted by the splendor of his style, which combines the best elements of prose and poetry. The important works of De Quincey are Confessions of an English Opium Eater. It was published in the year 1821. It is an autobiographical work of De Quincey which tells the story of his early life, which was unusual enough, and goes on to recount the dreams, some magnificent and some terrifying, which were stimulated in him by his taking of opium. His next work is Suspiria de Profundis, which was published in the year 1845. It is his another autobiographical work which reveals his interest in his own physiology and show an attitude to the significance of dreams and awareness of the different levels of consciousness that are surprisingly modern. On the knocking at the door in Macbeth is another important work of De Quincey. It received acclaim as an outstanding piece of physiological criticism and his critique of Wordsworth's lyrical ballads is considered a brilliant analysis of poets' creative process. So now let us discuss about the important fictional writers of romantic era. We have Jane Austen. Jane Austen was the famous novelist of romantic age. She has produced many important novels which are relevant till today. Amongst scholars and critics, Austen's realism and biting social commentary have cemented her historical importance as a writer. Austen lived her entire life as a part of a close knit family located on the lower fringes of the English gentry. Her important works are Sense and Sensibility, published in the year 1811, Pride and Prejudice, published in the year 1813, Mansfield Park, published in the year 1814, Yamma, published in the year 1815. Northanger Abbey and Persuasions are her other works. Austen's plots, though fundamentally comic, highlight the dependence of women on marriage to secure social standing and economic security. Like those of Samuel Johnson, one of the strongest influences on her writing, her works are concerned with moral issues. The next important fictional writer of romantic prose is Mary Shelley. She was the another important prose writer of romantic age. She was the daughter of a writer. She was the daughter of a writer and pioneering feminist Mary Wollstonecraft and philosopher novelist William Godwin. And also she was the wife of P.B. Shelley and friend of Lord Byron. She was educated at home where she met her father's literary friends, including Phoebe Shelley, who admired her father for his philosophical beliefs. Her important works, Frankenstein. It was published in the year 1817. It was her first novel published when she was 21. It was a kind of gothic novel, very famous in those days. The story deals with the ambitious young scientist who wanted to be the creator of life, the horrors that follow his experiment, and his destruction by the monster he creates. Frankenstein was immediately successful. Her another important work is Wolferga. It was published in 1823 when Shelley was 26. She also edited and promoted the works of her husband, was known mainly for her efforts to publish Phoebe Shelley's works. For more information, dear students, you can refer two important books. One is History of English Literature by David Duchess, and another one is History of English Literature by Edward Albert. Dear students, I would like to conclude here. Thank you. Thank you so much.